Welcome to Reality Bytes. This is Desley Casey and
Sue Pavlic.
And welcome to our first live podcast, and that for the year, for 2023. And Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a very happy and also a very happy Christmas and a very happy and safe start to the new year.
Yep.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about Pokies legislation. Now, it sounds strange. Why would we pick Pokies legislation? Well, it's because it's a hot topic in New South Wales at the moment.
And it's all been quite a hot topic in Tasmania for quite some time. Yes.
So, and I've been I don't know about you, Sue, but I've been kind of following the debate particularly in New South Wales leading up to the March election. And today, Chris Minns, who is the Labor opposition leader, has finally come out with a stance on Pokies reform for New South Wales if Labor wins government. So now, just a little bit of background is that Perrotte, the LNP Liberal leader, came out just before Christmas strongly against poker machines, particularly money laundering, and came out strongly that his government, if re-elected, would actually implement a mandatory cashless gaming card for New South Wales for poker machines.
Yeah.
However, he hasn't really come out and said how this in effect is going to work. So the raging topic has been, we have to have it to stop money laundering and also to address problem gamblers.
Yeah.
Now,
look, go on.
Well, what I was going to say, Sue, is that money launderers work on the mantra, where there's a will, there's a way.
Criminals work on the mantra, where there's a will, there's a way. We have seen this repeat itself in so many situations, in gun laws, as an example. Like here in Tassie, our gun laws are their strongest, I think, in the world, aren't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
one of the strongest.
Yeah.
Countries look to Australia.
Yet how many do we still have out on the streets?
Yes. So
it just doesn't work.
People are still killing people with guns, aren't they?
Oh, fuck, excuse me. Yes, they are.
But they're not using the semi-automatics, but because they're restricted. But getting back into poker machines is that, as we say, the criminals, where there's a will, there's a way. So if they're not going to money launder through cashless gaming cards, which I'm sure they'll probably, some bright spark there will work out a way how to do it anyway, but they'll use another mechanism. So it's not going to stop money laundering per se.
No.
As to problem gamblers, well, why is Australia hooked on that we must make regulations for the majority based on a minority?
Yeah, another thing that is repeated. You see this
everywhere.
over and over. Yeah, where they've got a problem with a minority of people doing a certain thing, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever, and the majority has to be ruled by it.
Yes.
Like, I'm fine. I can go down to the pub and spend $150 or whatever and not go there again for, quite a long time. I don't need no one to control that for me.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is that for me, I'm not, and I don't think you are saying either, that problem gambling wrecks people's lives and wrecks people's families.
Oh,
However,
yes. I see it all the time.
Nobody's denying that. But then so does problem alcohol. We haven't banned alcohol.
Yes.
You know, problem alcohol does exactly the same thing. It wrecks people's lives and people's families and also people on the road. Problem drivers wreck people's, only lives and their families and also other families. So again, we're talking about a minority, but let's getting back to poker machines and some legislation. And I thought we might start with Tasmania because your laws have been passed in Tasmania and they're due for implementation in 2024, so I understand.
Yeah, well, that kind of threw me that it actually happened. And what threw me even more was the limit. And it's like, how the hell did they get this one through?
Well, okay, so talking about the limit, in Tasmania from 2024, the limit is $100.
Yeah.
$100 a day. It's not per session, so you can't go to one pub or one club or whatever you got in Tasmania. Well, let's say this. You can't go to the casinos, blow $100 on the poker machines, then go to the pub and blow another $100 in the same 24-hour period, to my understanding.
Yeah.
So it's per day. But it's only $500 per month. So you've only got 5 bites of the cherry at $100, so to speak, each month.
Yeah.
And it's $5,000 per year, which means that basically 10 out of 12 months, you're not going to be able to play the poker machines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Basically, because 500.
And it's mandatory.
And it's mandatory.
That's the kicker. Now, for me, look, you're never going to control any addiction by deprivation. That's not how things are done.
You'll blow it out.
In this particular case, they've made this particular legislation $100. Now, anybody who has a like for the pokies and goes down occasionally and has a flutter, there are times when you need more than $100 to have a chance of breaking even or maybe even coming out with a little bit in your back kick. Yeah, right?
Normally, most experienced poker players work on $100 to $200 at basically at a minimum. You will get people who are high rollers, but
yeah, but they're not the ones. Yeah, so okay, you it's just not this way. It's actually taking people's money without giving them the chance of getting that. It's not enough. Like, we can, even people on Centrelink that have a flutter can reasonably afford $200
every once in a while.
Every once in a while, yes.
As if they were going to a concert.
Exactly. If they were going to a concert or, any of those things, a theatre show or, any of those things would be equivalent to that cost, depending on your position, seating, whatever. So that's not a lot for a social event, right? It's enough for you to have a chance, have a go. And, with $100, it doesn't. It will actually rob people. And so it's actually geared, this legislation is geared towards taking people's money and for the house and for the government in the taxes and stuff like that.
And what we need to explain is that, yes, you can on occasion win even on $20 or or $50.
Or however, $1. I won a $600 jackpot on $1.
Yeah. And
so,
it can happen. But the odds of that happening on a regular basis
is,
I don't know what the odds would be, but you could literally say it'd be more than 100 to 1. Because so again, some viewers might say, well, if you're only going for entertainment, does it matter that you blow $100? Well, yes and no, because yes, you are going for entertainment. Now, there's no two ways about it. You kind of have to look at any type of gambling as a form of entertainment. But you also, in the back of your head, would hope to win something, even if it's only
otherwise,
$20.
Why go?
Otherwise, why would you go? Or as some of my friends say, I've donated to the club today.
Yeah.
You know, well, quite frankly, $100 limit, you're donating to that pub, that club, that casino on a regular basis. So basically, if you go by the argument in Tasmania that it's $500 a month, well, you can kiss $500 away because it's not a 1 in 5 that you'll win on $100.
The kicker on this one is the $500 limit a month is that that's spread out. You can't use that in one session.
That's right. That's
so
exactly
you can
right.
sit there and you're playing that day and you think, but I need, another $50. You can't do it.
You can't do it. So you've kissed $100 goodbye. So
you're making $100 donation every time you go in.
That's right. And so basically the thinking for Tasmanians around poker machines is, instead of going in with the hope that you might win something, even if it's $20, you've increased your cash flow. You've got your 100 back, plus you've got an extra 20. $20 is $20. A win is a win.
I hear people all the time when I went and, say, oh, well, that paid for the night out sort of thing. Yeah. And that's what it is.
That's right.
You go for a night out, you have a meal if you're at the pub or club, whatever, and you have a flutter at the pokies, and you have a loss, you have a win, but you got a limit, and the limit's usually $200. That's a good night out.
It's a good night out.
Blow it. Oh, well, too bad, so sad. See you next year.
I had a good time.
You have a little win, you go, you take it home, and happy days.
You're thinking, I would suggest in Tasmania is going to be that basically, well, I'm going to be donating that $100. Do I really want to donate $100 to the club and to the government? Will that stop some people? Maybe.
It should stop everybody, and the fact that it's mandatory should really stop everybody. Now, I know one of my friends follows us, and some of them like to go down there, and some of them, I'm just saying, don't do it, because effectively you're donating that money because you haven't got a show.
Well, you might as well donate it to a charity and put it to good use, because you're not going to. Yeah, the odds of you getting your money, your $100 back yes, it can be doable, but consistently, I would wonder. So
it makes it hard.
Makes it hard. So let's move on to New South Wales, where it's a hot topic, and there's all sorts of comments. I saw one today. Now, just to let viewers know, the most latest information is Chris Minns, the Labor opposition leader, has come out with a stance on the poker machines. He will be reducing the number of poker machines in New South Wales if he's elected to government, if Labor is elected to government. Now, that could be a good Labor policy. It's a Labor policy anyway. I'm not too phased about that, and that sort of thing. He's also basically saying that the new machines that come on the floor, the cash limit that can be inserted in the machine will be $500 instead of $5,000.
Yeah.
Now, in New South Wales, currently, the maximum bet is $10. That's the maximum bet. Well,
Yeah,
that's the
ours is
maximum
5.
spin. Yours in Tasmania, it's 5. So the maximum. So they're basically going to try and limit that way. They are going to trial it's going to be a mandatory trial of specific cities and regions in New South Wales. He hasn't come out and said that the trial will be mandatory completely across New South Wales. So it shall be interesting as to whether they check out that as to what regions he's really talking about. And what else did he say? Sue, is basically, I think that's it. It's a 12-month mandatory trial from July. And will include 500 poker machines across pubs and clubs in metro and regional areas. And it will also include a variety of different cashless technologies.
Yeah, it'll be targeted, no doubt, in low socioeconomic regions, for one thing.
Well, I was, got really intrigued with poker machine stats and everything like that. And unfortunately, Australia is not as transparent as America in their stats. They don't seem to have casinos. They have more casinos. They're just everywhere, from what I understand, in America, just about. But they are very transparent. The club has to show, and you can go on specific websites and you can see how much each individual club has generated through their poker machines.
Yeah.
In New South Wales, I looked at the New South Wales stats. What I could only find was local government area regions.
Yeah.
So LGAs. Now, in the Shoalhaven alone, from the 31st or the 1st of December 2021 to the 31st of May 2022, it was something like 60. So that's 6 months worth of figures just for the Shoalhaven local government area. It was something like 68 million was put through poker machines and clubs and pubs in the Shoalhaven area alone. So I suspect Shoalhaven will be one of the areas targeted.
I can't remember our numbers, but they shocked me when I heard them. They were ridiculously high numbers.
Well, oh, hold on. I must put a qualifier, Sue. That was the profit.
Yeah.
After tax.
Yeah.
After tax. So
yeah, that's horrid that many people. Look, I know that we have a gambling problem in this country of all forms. The horses, the doggies, the freaking roosters.
Sports betting.
Sports betting that is widely advertised, and then there's that killer, gamble responsibly. Look, it's just, the whole thing's insane. But I don't like the fact that one area has been targeted, which is the pokies.
What about gaming tables?
Exactly. Yeah. So it'll just, it's not worth. The fact that it's mandatory really annoys me, because you don't have a choice. And sorry, but governments, unless you're under a dictatorship, have no right to make mandatory, like, things, social events, how you, where you, what you, just.
Well, the other thing that, I've written but never gets printed is, okay, you're going to make it mandatory having a cashless gaming card. Let's just talk about the cashless gaming card, and I'll get to my other point. So just remind me I have a point with this.
Yeah.
Is that when you go to the pokies now, you physically put in cash. You may get it come out as a physical ticket or a card, as in Tasmania, it's put on a card, it's capable.
Yeah, in the casino, in the pubs,
in the casino,
you use coins.
You use coins. Okay,
we don't have the money ones.
Yeah, well, in my two local clubs, I put in cash, and then when I want to leave that poker machine, I pull out a ticket. Now I have the choice of either cashing that ticket and getting hard cash, or putting that ticket into another machine. But I have to make a decision. Do you see what I'm getting at? I have to make a decision. Now, let's say I put in $50, or let's use the 100 as in Tasmania. I put $100 into a favourite machine, and luck goes against me. Or actually, no, sorry. Luck goes with me. And I win an extra $20. No, hold on. Here, rewind. I put in $100. Luck goes against me, and I decide I've still got $50 in my purse. I thought, okay, now I have to make a decision. Do I put that cash in, or do I walk away? Or do I put that $50 cash in another machine? So I'm making a decision.
Yeah.
Okay. So
which we as adults do.
Right. But because I'm physically handling the cash, I'm making that decision.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Now, also, let's use the one that the example I was half doing, but putting it in the wrong order. I put in $100, and for some reason, that machine decided that day, I was pretty lucky. Yes, Desley, the universe will provide you, and gives me $120. So I've got my 100 back. I've got an extra $20. And I then decide, now, do I put that $20 through and just pull out the 100, or do I put it all back in, or do I pull out the ticket, put it in another? Or if I pull out the ticket inside, do I cash the ticket in and get cold hard cash in my hand?
Yeah.
Okay, so I get 120. So all the way through, I'm making some fairly concrete decisions either way.
Yeah.
Now I might decide, okay, what I'll do is, and I've watched a lot of experienced poker players do this too. They will pull out that ticket, take some more money out of their wallet or purse, and put that into the same machine and play. So they've got their winnings, they've got that, and then they decide, this seems like this machine is hot at the moment. I'll play, but I want to preserve that little win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. Or do I decide, okay, I've made $20, and I've got a great saying, be happy with small wins. They add up over time, 9 times out of 10 more than what you'd ever get in a jackpot over time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I decide, well, I don't want to play anymore. I'm going to take the money and run. So then I put the money in the ticket machine, and I get my cash, and I get out of the club as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Without actually running, but, walking fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all the way through, I'm making decisions.
Yeah.
Now, if we go to the cashless gaming card, okay, because it's attached to your bank account, okay, the limit is $100. You know what I mean? But let's say you're on a lucky streak, okay, and you win, let's say, again, you get 120, and you think, okay, you're not really thinking through. You don't have the same mechanism of the physical, the ticket, the money, and you're going to have to start being just about a maths whiz. Say, okay, it's 120. I should only play $20, because then I've still got my money. You know what I mean, for next time.
Yeah.
But the odds are let's say you get a bit higher, you get down to $90, you go up to 130, you get down to 60. Do you see how it's harder to calculate your cash flow?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm getting at? Of course, the machine is giving you a number.
Yeah.
But unless you're totally, you might have only put in $50 that day.
Yeah.
And bumped it up to 100. You know what I mean? But because you're going up and down, which is what poker machines do, they're not really that static, and they're not a static pastime. You're going to have to employ, it's easier, I would suggest, to lose track of your cash flow.
Yeah.
What say you, Sue?
Yeah, on the card. Yeah.
Because you're not physically.
I don't like the idea of the card. I don't think it's we just got rid of a cashless debit card. Now, I know that's different, but is it really? I mean, it's still basically the controlling of people in the name of good for them.
Well,
and you want to fix something, do it so it's fixed and stays fixed. So throw some money at whatever mental health is required to bring, let people pick their own selves up and see that, mate, shit, I'm blowing $1,000 a fortnight on the Pokies, and I'm doing that
maybe
regularly.
I've got a problem.
I need some help, and go and get some and be able to, or set up programs that if different venues can see different patrons. And look, the venues know their gamblers, their regulars, particularly the pubs.
Oh, yeah, and the clubs.
And they know how much they're spending and all the rest. Now, they've been taking the profits for a long time now. And, they tell you, oh, we don't make anything. And you just look at them as if to say, really? If you didn't make anything, you wouldn't have this big room allocated just to the machines, right? You just wouldn't do it. It's not business sense, so don't talk shit. And you would actually take note of your problem gamblers and maybe offer some assistance or offer them a number to contact. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to get, I mean, it's still all about money and it's all about control, but it's about, this time, it's about depriving those people of the opportunity to regain their money by setting such a low limit, and it's still control by making it mandatory.
Well, the other thing too is like in New South Wales, we do have on our poker machines have a problem with gambling, blah, 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 call gamblers helpline or something like that.
Yeah, who looks at that?
Well, that's true. And they also have to have signs at their entries.
Yeah, they do. All our pubs do too.
And that sort of thing.
Again, but who looks at that? And the regulars,
because we've become blind to it because it's there.
Yeah.
But exactly. The other thing I want to say is I read a comment today where one commenter said, and we have to wind this up fairly soon, this podcast is all gamblers are problem gamblers. So by that logic, all concert goers are problem concert goers, all sports people are problem sports people.
Oh, geez, I'm in trouble because I'm in, all of those things. Like, I love concerts and I love my sport. So I've just got a full-blown addiction. I need some serious help. Like, get a grip, people.
Well, this is it. People are coming out, particularly in New South Wales, and saying we're going to vote Liberal for the first time in our lives because Minns hasn't come out with a policy. Well, he came out with it today. But also, he is going to put some money into problem gambling.
And that's the good option.
That's that's the way. You what's it called? They did it after the war. What was it that they you couldn't buy alcohol or something like that?
Oh,
Or
prohibition.
prohibition. Well, in
Yeah.
prohibition, whilst they're not going for total prohibition, they're putting restrictions on, but it's going for the majority who don't have it. Now, the other thing I'd say, if they were really serious about problem gambling, quite frankly, in any state in Australia, they would allow people to own a poker machine in their own home.
Yeah, then you can play it at your own.
You play it at your own place. Even if you're putting physical money in, you're actually getting that physical money back.
Yeah.
And everything. So if that, but no, they're addicted to the tax, these governments. They won't allow poker machines in people. You're not allowed in any state of Australia to own a poker machine in your own home.
That's
now,
stupid.
if they were genuinely serious about problem gambling and limiting problem gambling, they would allow people to own a poker machine or two in their own home. Instead of having a media centre, they might have a mini casino.
Yeah.
It's not hooked to anything, so friends can't put money in or anything like that or anything, but it gives the same effects. It's still the entertainment value if they were serious about it. But no, they want to go mandatory so they get the money.
Yeah, it's always about the dollar, isn't it?
And they think they're doing it for our own welfare, particularly in Tasmania, is, I would suggest, a load of BS.
It is, and look, Labor has stood on this platform here and it's knocked them over. That's the reason Rebecca White lost the election prior to this one. But she stood firm on the platform of reducing poker machines, abolishing them, blah, 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 whatever it was. But look, if they want to, I do agree we need to reduce the amount of poker machines that are around.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with that.
Particularly in city regions. Regional areas are not too bad. You might have one or two within, 40, 50 kilometres or whatever. But in the cities, like, they're almost on the street corners.
Well, you take my area, okay, we've got 2 clubs and a pub. 1 pub, 2 clubs. All of them have poker machines. But if you're an experienced person out for fun, having a bit, maybe getting a bit of money, you know which club to go to. Because of what's called the RTP, the return to player percentage.
Yeah.
Now, even though the minimum is, and it's the same for Tasmania, is the legislation is that the return to player percentage must be 85%.
Yeah.
But at least a good 15%. But then if they want to put it higher than that, that's up to the individual establishment.
Yeah.
So you kind of get to know what machines you stick away from, what machines you don't play. Now, occasionally going to the other club, you might do a win. You might get a win, but it might be not as regular,
Yeah.
But now, if they decide they're going to restrict it to 1 club, well, I know which club I don't want it to be, put it that way, and I won't name it on air.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And that sort of thing. So basically, or are they going to restrict the number within the actual clubs? So instead of having like one club has more poker machines than the other club. But are they going to do a percentage wise? Again, Chris Minns hasn't come out how that's going to particularly work, except that we're going to reduce the number. Again, it comes down to, particularly in regional areas, we don't have the choice like our city counterparts.
No, we don't. And yeah, I think the city has too many. I really do.
Well, you know, there could be quite a number of clubs. You've got all your pubs. I lived on the Northern Beaches for 17 years in Sydney. You know, you've got your big clubs, your small clubs, your
Yeah,
pubs, and your big pubs, your
yeah,
small pubs, and everything like that. So it'd be interesting
yeah,
to see how they do it. But on
yeah.
that, have you got any final thoughts? Because we have to wind up.
Yeah, no, I just think that they need to be serious if they're going to do this. I don't like the idea of anything mandatory like that. Yes, we do have a problem. Yes, we need to work on it, but deprivation is never the answer. And this one works for the establishment, not for the betterment of the participants.
Exactly. And I also would add that people have a right to self-determination.
They do indeed.
And, you know, we are adults. No,
Yes,
no
yeah.
under 18-year-old is allowed in any pokey area in New South Wales.
Yeah, or here.
Or they'd have to, if they go to a casino, they'd have to only be in the lounge areas, and they're not allowed in those areas. So we're talking about adults. We're not talking about children. And yes.
And frankly, I'm sick and tired of the majority being ruled by the minority.
Absolutely. And on that note, this is Desley Casey
and Sue Pavlic
from Reality Bytes saying thank you for watching and listening. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Be kind to each other.
Yes, and be good. Share the care. Bye for now.